Our tastes in film may seem destructive, but this is a productive dialogue. Damn it, your mother ate my dog.
Well, hi there, Josh.
Hey, Jesse. Hello, audience. Thank you once again for coming back and listening to our podcast. Your Mother Ate My Dog is the name of it. We talk about movies and real life stuff. I'm Josh. Hey, you're Jesse. This is episode 28.
28.
And it's fitting that it's episode 28 and we're talking about outer space today.
Very true.
Specifically, the moon.
Because as we all know, the moon is 28 kilometers above the Earth.
Exactly. Hey, Jesse, I was doing some thinking. Doing some thinking recently, and You ever watch Wheel of Fortune?
Yes, I have seen Wheel of Fortune.
Do you ever stick around after the person has either won or lost the final Wheel of Fortune puzzle?
And Pat Sajak and the other lady have like a brief chat.
Yeah, Pat Sajak and Vanna White. Vanna White's her name. They have a brief chat.
Right.
They've been doing this for a long time. How do they figure out what to talk about?
It's
Like, have they
probably-
already talked about everything?
You would think, but I'm sure the writers give them a prompt of some sort, and then they sort of just go with it. Or, this probably just comes naturally, and they just know what to talk about.
2 episodes ago, they were talking about camping. They're very rich people who don't really go camping a lot.
No, I don't imagine.
And today's episode, it was a joke. Pat Sajak told a joke about putting a little drop of gas in a bird's eye to save its life, and then it got up and flew away, only to drop down again. And Vanna White was like, "Did the bird die?" And then Pat Sajak was like, "No, it just ran out of gas." And then the show ended. So so after 28 episodes, it's like, when are we going to get to that point where we just stop?
Well, I got to say, we're at 28. They're probably at,
At least double
3,000 or
that.
4,000 at this point.
Well, I think that's worth a Google. How many episodes has Wheel of Fortune been on for? How many episodes has Wheel of Fortune? They had 7,000 taped as of May 19th, 2019. So that's 3+ years ago. Say they do like 300 a year. So they're probably at like $8,000 now. 8,000 episodes.
That is a lot of episodes.
Yeah, we're not going to get there.
No, I don't think so.
Not even close.
No.
Okay, well, that's just
it-
what I wanted to share with you.
Was that our Wheel of Fortune segment of the week?
No,
Oh.
that was just like a prologue to the episode. I think.
I'm so used to all the segments, I just assume everything is a segment.
Yeah, so I don't do segments anymore.
Oh, we've gotten rid of the segments. Okay.
Yeah, so we're just going to do chapters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So chapter 1 of episode 28 is the random fact of the day. So I found a random fact of the day for you that I wanted to share.
I'd love to
I
hear
think
it.
it's quite interesting. My random fact of the day today is that a butt is a real unit of measurement. So if you say, I got a buttload, that's actually about 108 imperial gallons.
Oh.
So it's in liquid, which is about 681 liters. So a buttload is about 681 liters for the Canadian listeners.
Okay. I do find when I say a buttload, I'm thinking of around 700 liters worth of something.
Yeah,
So
well,
I was pretty close.
That's surprising because you wouldn't really think of liquid when you say a buttload, but
Well, I mean, liquid comes out of butts.
okay. Chapter 2 of the podcast. I want to throw this to you. It's this is a movie podcast about movies. We're talking about movies, so I just want to know, outside of the one movie of the week that you're obligated to watch,
Yeah.
are you watching anything else right now? Whether that's television, do you watch another fun movie? What are you watching right now?
I haven't watched a single thing. I watch YouTube. I keep up with some YouTube channels. Do you want to know about the channels I watch?
You better believe it.
Okay. One is called The Hoover Boys. Basically, they're just a bunch of guys who go metal detecting. And I'm somewhat interested in metal detecting. I've gone out myself a few times, but it's more so just watching the guys hunt for fun treasures. And they're a fun group of guys. So I'm basically there for their personality and finding the treasures. So that's one thing that I watch every week. They come out with an episode every week, every Wednesday. There was a new episode today.
Do you have your own metal detector?
I do have a metal detector, yes.
Okay, continue.
Okay. Another thing I watch is Good Mythical Morning. That one I'm more certain you've heard of.
Rhett and Link, yeah, you betcha.
Yep. We watch them every time. That's a thing my girlfriend and I watch. We enjoy watching them. And the last thing is a guy named Nairo who plays Super Smash Brothers. I watch every video that he puts out.
Nairo, you think he'd be playing a game like Spyro?
Yeah, that's true, because when you have a
Visitor.
name, you only play games that rhyme with your name. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's okay.
And because since you're Josh, I assume you play like NBA because Chris Bosch is in those games, right?
Well, the older ones. He hasn't played a professional NBA game in quite some time.
It has been quite a long time.
He had injury problems.
Right. So you play like the 2K games pre 2014, 2015, probably around there.
That's a great question. Let's just see when Chris Bosh played his last professional game, and then we can make that.
The official cutoff.
He's 38 now.
Oh, old.
Chris Bosh last played in 2015, 2016. So your 2K14 reference would make sense. So
Okay.
Good job.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that one. The last person I do watch, actually, I'll quickly mention him because I know that you watch his videos, I think, or I've shown you a couple of his. It's a guy named Bo Miles. It's like an adventurer, I would say, who lives in Australia, puts out interesting videos.
Quite an interesting man, definitely.
Yeah. So that's it. That's what I'm watching. What about you?
We're currently deep into the third season of The Boys right now.
Yes.
Just watched episode 5. I hear episode 6 of season 3 is very good, so we're looking forward to doing that at some point. We're also keeping up with The Bachelorette.
Right.
Who's Gabby going to pick? Who's Rachel going to pick? A lot of drama happening with that. And yeah, basically, that's it. We watched a few movies recently. I'll bring up my big movie list.
Okay. You watch a lot more movies than I do. I've learned this.
Well, actually, that's not necessarily true. We watched a movie called Uma with Sandra Oh. It's a horror movie.
Okay.
Wasn't very good.
Uh-huh.
And then basically, that's the last movie that I've had. Well, she watches. She likes to watch like rom-coms that I don't really include
Right.
in my list because I don't fully watch them. So
You're like
really,
there on your phone, and she's just watching them in your go.
yeah. So
I see.
It was the last movie that I've seen that isn't really like a podcast movie.
Okay.
But thank you for asking.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome. I felt obligated, I'm not going to lie, because you asked me what I'm watching, so I asked what you're watching. But anyway.
Speaking of obligation, the last, it's not really like a fun chapter situation that I have prepared for you today, but our third chapter is the follower of the week.
Oh, yes. Why did you say it's not a fun chapter? You like sort of dread this moment? Or?
No, not this necessarily, but like normally we have more fun chapter segments.
Has it been fun?
Like scamming and
Right, that is fun.
And stuff. But we have gotten a few new followers in the last little bit.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are the follower of the week. The follower of the week this week, I mean, a relatively new one. He follows us. We don't follow him. The account is private, so I can't see really much about this follower of the week. But his name is Tommy. He goes by Tom Hellraiser.
Oh.
He has 46 posts, 98 followers. And his bio just says horror fanatic. Horror fanatic.
I was about to say, I bet you it's horror related, and it sure was.
The picture, Tom Hellraiser. His picture is just him at a beach. He's wearing sunglasses and has a beard. Tommy, thank you so much for being our follower of the week. I'm sorry we don't follow you back so we can see all your 46 posts, but I'm sure it's
I'm sure they're great. Related. That was a good follow of the week. Not quite as good as last week's. I don't remember his name, but it was something like Wham Bam Turkey Man. Something like that.
Oh, yeah. It was, yeah. Yo-Yo? Was it Yo-Yo?
Yo-Yo for you, bro?
Yo-Yo Crazy Bones. Yo-Yo Crazy Bones.
Crazy Bones. That's what it is. Yeah. I was close. With Yeah Man, Turkey Man, or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yam Turkey Man.
Tommy Hellraiser?
Just Tom. Tom Hellraiser.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me, Tom. Sorry about that.
Our follower of the week.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Okay, well, this week was a Josh movie. I picked a 2009 movie named Moon. Takes place on the moon. Stars really only one person. Sam Rockwell plays. He plays a guy named Sam. He plays a few of them.
Yes.
Spoilers upcoming. I had no idea what the movie was about before picking it and watching it, so that was a fun twist. Normally, I ruin it for myself. So seeing some clones show up was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
My one fun fact to start off the podcast movie of the week chapter is that this was directed by a man named Duncan Jones, who's the son of David Bowie.
Oh, that is a fun fact.
David Bowie's real name, David Jones.
Didn't know that.
This film was also written exclusively for Sam Rockwell.
Oh, that's fun too.
Yeah, how did you feel about this movie?
Well, Josh, I am happy to report that I'm still awake. And I'm reporting this because the urge to fall asleep was strong.
This was a slow movie, I will give you that. It's very tough in situations like this where it's like one actor trying to carry the whole film. It was dimly lit as well, which I think perhaps led to your sleepiness.
That could
not
be
a lot
part
happened. I did find myself not falling asleep since I watched it like at noon, but I did have the urge to like do other things while this was in the background. So
right, yeah. Also, I found this film to be a little predictable, but not in maybe not predictable, but I'm like, okay, I think I know what the next thing is going to be. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be this. And then the thing that happened, and it was like less interesting than what my mind thought up, but it was like in the same vein. So it just kept like doing kind of what I was thinking, but in a less interesting way. And it just kept doing it over and over. I just didn't find this film very interesting.
Well, I apologize. I'm happy that it was only 98 minutes then. You didn't waste
it was
your
short.
whole your whole Wednesday.
I could have.
afternoon.
Well, if it was longer, I could have had a longer nap. I would have just given in. I'm like, you know what? Just screw it. I'm sleeping. I don't mean to. I mean, this is your movie. You did choose it. And I'm not really hiding my cards very well. I didn't like it very much.
I feel like I'm honest with you when
true.
there's a movie that you pick and I dislike. So I'm very. We need the honesty from you. Don't
Right.
sugarcoat your feelings. This movie was quite successful in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Scotland. It won quite a few awards. A lot of praise heaped on it. It has a high Rotten Tomato score.
It does.
So clearly you're wrong.
I must be wrong. The critics have all weighed in, giving it 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I will say I struggled to find that 90% as I was watching.
That's fair. Kevin Spacey was in this?
Yeah, like by voice only, I suppose.
Yeah. He played Gertie, the voice. But he agreed to voice it, but only if he liked. So he demanded to watch the film before it was finished, or like, well, no, when it was finished, but before it was released. And if he liked it, then he would voice Gertie.
Oh,
So he did like the film, and then he recorded his lines in half a day because obviously there wasn't a lot of lines for
no.
Gertie. This whole film was shot in 33 days. Was not filmed in space.
Wasn't filmed in space. Well, that's a surprise.
$5 million budget.
Okay.
Let's see. It didn't make a lot of money because it was like one of those films that didn't really get much theater time. It was like a film festival movie.
Right.
So it made $9.8 million.
It just I just felt like this film. It just didn't have a lot of substance. Like I didn't leave the end of this film and trying to like. It didn't have me thinking, but I think it was trying to provoke a lot of deep thought about what happened and what did this mean and what did this mean. But it didn't. It kind of fell flat in that sense, I thought.
Yeah, I didn't really think too much of that. Like I didn't feel like it was trying to pull that from me, which I guess makes the movie worse then.
Yeah, it just like felt like barely anything happened. And then when the things that were maybe big plot points did happen, they just weren't that surprising and less satisfying than maybe my mind had built up, like I said.
Okay, that's fair. One thing that I did think they did well. So obviously Sam Rockwell played Sam, and Sam Rockwell played the other Sam.
Yeah.
So when they were together, it didn't seem like when they're both in the same frame, it didn't seem like it seemed pretty smooth, I thought.
Right. Like it wasn't obvious that one was maybe superimposed in or something. Like it was convincing that there was two people and they were the same. I know what you mean.
Yes. For 2009, maybe that's good.
What was that movie? We watched a movie for the podcast early on. I think it was The One. And Jet Li had a double, and I remember talking about how convincing that was. And that was like from
2001. Yeah.
2001. So I don't know.
Okay, this movie does bring up The One for sure, the doubles. This film also kind of reminded me of Primer a little bit, with some clones.
Mm-hmm.
So
It also
this is a good.
I'm sorry.
This is a good movie for us to have on the podcast to kind of unite our earlier works.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I was thinking of The One. You're thinking of Primer. This also makes me think of a movie we didn't watch for the podcast, which was 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's a pretty clear sort of connection there. Have you seen that movie?
I have not, but I know they're in space and they go on an odyssey. There's a monkey.
And there's this computer, Hal. You know, he's got the red
Right.
light and he speaks in the computer voice.
I've seen The Simpsons riff on that.
Right,
So maybe I have seen the movie.
Yeah, well, it's like that. So there was that in this film as well. with Gertie. And one thing I guess I can say that I liked was when I sort of envision these types of films that are in space and maybe seclusion in space. You imagine these spacecrafts and it's like squeaky clean, all white. I mean, there was a lot of white in the spacecraft. I think that's kind of like a common cliche, I guess, or not a cliche, but a movie trope that these facilities in space are always like very white. But I did find that they added a lot of like grittiness as like a good contrast to the squeaky cleanness of the facility. And then Sam Rockwell's character was like very dirty, and he sort of like brought the dirtiness with him to every room he was in. It kind of like expanded off of him. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Because he had been there for 3 years. You think living in like a small amount of space for 3 years, you'd be a little dirty?
Yeah, and I was convinced of that from the way that they showed it. I made it seem like, he had been there a long time. That was good.
Okay. That's good.
And I guess another quick thing is, I guess this I would sort of classify as a bottle movie, where a bottle movie is like where it takes place in one place. Like we never cut back to on Earth, except maybe in like a dream once. It's like it all happens on the moon. And I feel like those types of movies sort of lend themselves to perhaps being a bit more dull. Like maybe you sort of thirst for a bit more variety in landscape. I mean, he did like go from inside to outside and in the rover, I guess, but it was all on the moon. And maybe I was sort of wanting a little more.
Okay, but the movie was called Moon, right? It wasn't called like Moon and Other Places.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. But maybe I was so bored that I was like, okay, maybe a change would really help this or something like that. But that is true. It is called Moon. It only makes sense. That's where it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean that's fine. This is a movie that didn't give you what you wanted. Maybe the sequel. There's a follow-up film in 2018 called Mute, starring Paul Rudd. They call it a spiritual successor.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. So I guess it's like the same universe, I suppose.
I guess so.
This film takes place in 2035, which really isn't that far away.
No.
From us right now. I guess Paul Rudd's mute in that one, but I know nothing else about it. Okay, well, I guess I didn't really know how you'd feel about this movie. It's artsy a little bit.
A little bit.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Do you just want to... Okay, well, is there any glare... Well, I guess you've already kind of talked about what you didn't like.
Yeah, and there's another thing I guess maybe I'll mention is that I don't really like Sam Rockwell all that much.
Well, that would be very important for a movie that's just Sam Rockwell.
It's just him. Yeah, there's one performance he's done that I like that actually kind of reminds me of this a little, is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You seen that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in that movie, he's like, it's in space, but he plays more of like a kooky, funny character, which I think works really well. And this one, it was like he was in space, and it made me think of that performance, which I really liked, and then he was just kind of dull and uninteresting, I found in this film. So that wasn't helping his case in this film.
He plays more of a villain character throughout
yes.
his adult life.
Yeah, that's true. Like when I saw 2 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which he won an Oscar for that performance, I'm pretty sure. Or at least he was at least nominated, that's for sure.
I think he won the Oscar, yeah.
Okay, he won. That I didn't really see it. Like when he won, I was kind of surprised. But I guess I have some sort of vendetta against Sam Rockwell. Perhaps it was quite a good performance, and I just couldn't get past the fact that I didn't like him. And I guess he does play pretty unlikable characters, like in The Green Mile. You've seen that? Surely you've seen The Green Mile.
Yeah, but I don't remember him being in the Green Mile.
He was like the really disgusting guy, and he stepped on the mouse, and he was just like a dick.
Oh, he was the mouse killer.
Yes. And you know what else other movie he was in that he was very unlikable, and we actually watched on this podcast? It would be hard. I totally forgot about it, but I'm just happen to be looking at his filmography right now. I'm like, oh yeah, he was in that movie, and oh yeah, he was like a big part of that movie.
Okay, here, let me bring up our episode list and see if I can find.
I wouldn't be surprised if you forgot he was in this movie, because I did.
He wasn't in Tombstone, was he?
No.
There was no villain in Peanut Butter Falcon.
No, he was not in that either.
He wasn't in Con Air. Oh, he's in Charlie's Angels.
Yes, he's in Charlie's Angels.
Right, yeah.
And he's just annoying and stupid in that movie too. So I don't know. I guess I'm just not a big Sam Rockwell fan. So you've sort of picked a doozy for this week's episode. Surely not intentional.
If I knew you didn't like Sam Rockwell, maybe I would have changed my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think I've laid it all down. I've pretty much told you everything I want to say.
Yeah. So then, do we even bother doing scores?
I mean, we can talk about acting.
Well, I mean, Sam Rockwell was the actor.
He was. I guess there really is no point. There wasn't really much acting besides him, basically at all.
Well, there was a body double. So he was like playing off. He wasn't necessarily playing off of himself, like nobody in the room. Like he was acting with another human being.
Right.
Then he just had to act that part as well later on, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought he was fine. I thought he was perfectly fine in this. Maybe I like Sam Rockwell.
Maybe you do. We're in different boats, I guess.
All right. Well, we're not going to worry about acting. How did you feel about the ending?
The ending.
Do you remember how the ending went? You just finished the movie. Okay, I'm going to tell you. There's two things here. Two IMDb trivia things about the ending.
Okay.
That maybe will help you out.
Hopefully jog my memory a bit as to how it ends.
Just before Sam leaves for Earth, he is carrying a cylindrical object under his left arm. In the director's commentary, Duncan Jones, David Bowie's son, says that it is a large storage canister containing $15 million worth of helium-3, which is what he's on the moon to mine. Should have been called mining. And that selling it would allow Sam to live well on Earth over his 3-year lifespan. Because I guess he only has 3 years left. Because
all those clones die after 3 years.
Right, after 3 years. That plot point didn't make the final cut, which doesn't help.
Okay.
According to David Bowie's son, the original Sam allowed the company to have his genetic material taken, certain memories to be downloaded, so like all the wife stuff, and all of his transmission with his wife to be used. The company gave him a heap of money so that after his 3 years of actually doing the job on the moon, he went back to Earth, his family was taken care of, and the guys on the moon took care of the actual job. So 2009 to 2035, so that's 26 years. So really, there's clones on the moon for a long time.
Well, his daughter's 15 by the end.
His daughter's 15 by the end, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. I mean, the ending was pretty standard, I guess. Like, nothing crazy.
No.
They were they were building up to it, and then they delivered. Like nothing. There wasn't really a point where it seemed like he wasn't going to get off the moon.
Like even in the end, I felt like they were trying to build tension. Like, oh, maybe he won't make it, but it was like, well, I think he will, and then he
it's
did.
pretty easy. Like one thing I didn't like about it was how Gertie kind of, fed him how to do it correctly, like how to wipe his memory,
Yeah,
which I thought should have been discovered by Sam somehow. But and I thought Gertie was going to turn out bad,
right.
but really he was just a good robot.
He was
And
good.
then that was it.
That was it.
So I mean, I gave the ending like a 7 out of 10,
Whew.
which it's just like standard.
I guess so.
It wasn't a bad ending. It was fine, and I'm feeling generous. So a 7 out of 10.
Okay, be like a 4 or 5 for me, I guess. I mean, I could barely remember it, and it was just kind of boring. I mean, it wasn't bad. It didn't like ruin the whole film, but I mean, there wasn't much to ruin there.
So your next movie will be Lord of the Rings 2. After
Lord
all
of the
this
Rings
talk
2,
about how
Frodo fights back.
sounds good.
Do you want to know my score for the overall score?
Yeah, sure.
I give this movie a 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. That's like as low as you've gone. Really, like has there been a lower score for you? 3 to 10 seems like
I think
bottom of the barrel bad.
The Haunting, I think, was a little worse. And even now, when I'm thinking about it, I like The Haunting better than this. But no, I just didn't like the acting, and it was so boring, and there was no like plot to be interested in, and all the twists were barely twists and barely interesting. Yeah, it was boring. So I gave it a 3.
Okay, well I gave it 6.5. So
Oh,
6.5. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it. This is a movie that I wanted to watch for a long time. Since this last episode, I've always I've seen it and like this is on the list. Or I've seen like scrolling through and like this is on the list of movies that I want to watch. And then we got to that point and it was perfectly palatable. 6.5 out of 10.
fair enough.
I even have a note saying that it's a movie I could probably watch a second time.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
like if you're, say, like really tired but couldn't fall asleep. Totally.
Something that I could watch it a second time, which is you can't say that about all the movies.
I guess so.
All right, well that was Moon, probably our shortest talk about a movie,
In a while.
which is fine. It's perfectly fine.
It's one of those movies you respect.
I respect your opinion about the movie.
Well, it's just one of those movies that it's tough to have a lot to talk about because it's in one place and there's one character, and it's not like the plot was like super complicated. Because Primer, there's not very many characters, but the plot is insanely complicated. But anyway. Now, before we get on to any other segments, are you still with me? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. So I'm just looking through the trivia to see if there's anything good.
Oh, okay.
But there's not.
Pardon me. Now, before we go to the other segments, do you want me to talk about the film I'm going to pick for next week, or do you want to leave that for later?
It's up to you. Whatever you want.
Maybe I'll bring it up right. I'll bring it up right now. So I have 2 films in mind. Okay.
Boring.
And
Sorry. Continue.
the way you answer to one of the questions I'm about to pose to you is going to decide which one we watch. And so one of these films, I 100% guarantee you've heard of, and there's probably like an 80% chance that you've seen it. And if you have seen it, we're not going to watch that one. I can easily watch that in my own time. So we won't be bothered with it. The other film, I'm like 100% sure you've never heard of it, and thus you have definitely never seen it. So I guess I'll tease the first film and let you sort of guess what it is, and then we'll decide, if you've seen it or not. Well, we won't decide. We'll find out. Are you aware of who Ashton Kutcher is?
Yeah, we watched The Butterfly Effect.
Right. Now, can you think of any other film? Can you think of a film by him? Maybe not known for how good it is, but like everyone has heard of it.
Dude, Where's My Car?
Yes, Dude, Where's My Car? Have you seen that movie?
I would. Okay, let's just see when it came out because I have seen the movie, but I would have. Oh, the year 2000s. Like I would have seen it in like middle school.
Okay.
Not anytime soon. I wouldn't have any sort of idea. Jennifer Garner's in it. That's insane.
Yes, it is. It's also another nice thing about that movie. It's 64 minutes long. It's like the shortest movie ever.
Wikipedia says the running time is 88 minutes.
Excuse me? I Googled it and it said 64 minutes. If it's 88 minutes, I might throw that movie right out the window.
You Googled it, so you also saw the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yep. I did. But, okay. Well, now I'm on the fence if we should watch it because I think it would be a good movie for the podcast.
And why do you feel that way?
I feel like we need a bad movie to watch, but one we know is bad. I'm sick of these movies that I'm like, oh, you know what, this might be good, and then it's not good, and then it's like, oh, that's a letdown. But then you go into a movie you know isn't going to be good, like Green Lantern, and hey, guess what? It's a little better than you thought, and then you kind of have fun with it.
Right. So you want a movie like Dr. Otto and the Riddle of the Gloom Beam, where you're like, this is going to be a joke of a movie, and then you're like, well, actually, it's pretty good, but I don't. Okay, that's fine. My expectations for Dude, Where's My Car? Okay, well, I guess it is a movie that we could talk about for sure.
Mm-hmm.
A movie that we can be like, okay, yeah, like you definitely can't see that right now. Like even in the year 2000, like that you can't use that word. Why did you use that word? Like that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's one of those.
I would assume so, considering. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go that direction,
It's just one of those movies I've like, I swear, when that movie came out, I swear everyone was talking about that movie.
It's on Disney Plus.
What? So it can't have any of those, types of things in it then.
1 Hour Photo was also on Disney Plus. So
That's true.
there was a naked girl in it.
That is true. I didn't think about that. So, yeah, I guess it's just like I've heard of this movie a million times and never seen it. And I feel like everyone has seen it. And you've seen it apparently in middle school. And I think I kind of want to experience that movie. So now I'm leaning toward that's probably the movie I'm going to choose.
That's fine. The problem with how we've structured this is that it's going to be a Josh movie on all the important milestones. Like I'll get movie 30. I'll get movie 40. So maybe we should at some point switch it up.
We could if you want. I mean, I'm not really all that concerned. You can have 30 and 40 and 50. That's okay.
And 100.
Yep, you can have 100.
All right. So the next movie we're watching, a rare one for Jesse to just say the movie out loud on the podcast. So this is Dude, Where's My Car? Oh yeah, I do see where it says 1 hour 4 minutes.
Yes. See.
It's a comedy / mystery because they're trying to find the car.
Trying to find the car. The other film, I won't even mention anything about it. I'll just put that in my back pocket, and we'll save that for probably my next film.
But it's a movie that nobody would have heard of ever.
Most people have not heard of it. There is 2 big name actors in it, one of whom has been in, I think, 2 of our episodes. But
we still haven't seen a Willem Dafoe movie.
We have not seen a Willem Dafoe movie. I do need to get on that.
The Florida Project is a
Or maybe
William Dafoe movie.
We'll watch The Passion of the Christ or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, there it is. Dude, Where's My Car? Coming up next week on Your Mother Ate My Dog, the podcast. He's Josh. I'm Jesse. And this week we watched a 2009 movie called Moon by David Bowie's son.
So that just means that I have to have like a more serious movie next time because we can't have two silly movies. Actually, you know what? I think I know what movie we're gonna watch for episode 30.
Wow, you've already decided.
Well, this was a movie that I was gonna watch, or that I was gonna suggest for 28, but then I picked Moon instead. But I think knowing our history outside the podcast, I think this will be a very fitting episode 30.
I like the sound of that.
But we're not getting ahead of ourselves. Episode 29, Dude, Where's My Car? Which is so crazy to say out loud, but we're doing it.
We're doing it.
Okay, well, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Still have some energy?
I have some energy. I'm ready for chapter whatever we're on. 4 or 5 or whatever.
They're called segments.
Oh, of course.
1 hour photos actually has more listens than The Hunt. So that's good. That's another Jesse win.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna name a few different categories.
Okay.
You tell me which one excites you the most, and then we can do a little trivia
Hell yeah.
to end the episode.
I'd love to.
So there's category 1 is arts. Then we have science. Then we have entertainment, history, general, geography. That's it.
Well, I mean, you know what this podcast is full of?
Science.
Entertainment. I choose entertainment.
Okay, entertainment. That's fantastic. Let me just find a question that isn't really easy. They all seem very easy. They're all... there's 4 in a row that are just South Park related. That's good.
Okay.
Okay. A lot of... have you seen Chinatown with Jack Nicholson?
Yes, I have. But not recently enough to answer any trivia, I don't think.
Do you ever watch the show Friends?
Yes. I'm very well versed in Friends trivia.
In the TV show Friends, this is question 1. What song is Phoebe most well known for?
Smelly Cat.
You betcha. Smelly Cat, good job.
Thanks. That was a tough
That was
one.
too easy. There's another tough Friends question, but I thought maybe it was too tough.
Well, you should try me.
What was Joey's nickname? What name did Joey go by while working at Alejandro's?
That is a tough one.
And now that I believe that's the perfume place. If that helps.
Yeah, something cowboy. I don't know.
Cowboy was the opposite guy.
I don't know. The Lone Ranger.
He went by the name Dragon. These are just like film questions. Which one of the 4 Beatles was the eldest? Which one was the oldest? Which Beatle was the oldest?
Probably. It's not going to be Paul, and it's not going to be John. I don't think. It's either going to be George or Ringo.
I was leaning towards Ringo.
Yeah, I'm probably going to say. Yeah, Ringo.
The correct answer is Ringo Starr.
Nice. Now, do you know Ringo Starr's real name?
It's something weird.
It's not super weird. It's just kind of boring.
I don't know.
Richard Starkey.
That is boring.
Mm-hmm.
Where did Kevin's parents go for Christmas in the 1990 movie Home Alone?
Kevin! They went to Florida.
In the 1990 movie Home Alone, they went to Florida?
Mm-hmm.
They went to France.
Oh, shit.
They were in Paris.
Shit, you're totally right. I was thinking it was raining so much. I'm like, it's got to be Florida. But I think what I'm thinking of is the second one. When he's in New York, I think they go to Florida in that one.
Oh, maybe. I don't remember New York too well.
I'm gonna look that up while you. I'm gonna
This
look
is,
that up while you find another question.
Refreshing did not help. Who recorded the song "Girls Just Want to Have Fun"?
Cyndi Lauper.
You think so?
I don't think so. I know so.
Which 1980s sitcom featured Tom Hanks and Drake on a regular basis?
What sitcom? I didn't know he was on a sitcom.
Yeah, Tom Hanks is on a sitcom called the Bosom Buddies. Bosom Buddies? Let's just give up on that, and we're gonna go back to a
Can I
little.
pause you for just 1 second?
You betcha.
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York is a 1992 American Christmas comedy film directed by Chris Columbus and written and produced by John Hughes. It follows Kevin McAllister as he is separated from his family on their holiday vacation in Florida.
Wow. Mount St. Helens' most destructive 20th century eruption was in what year? When did Mount St. Helens, the volcano, erupt? What year in the 20th century? That's 1900 to 1999.
This is a weird entertainment question.
Let's just say it's not entertainment.
Okay. For some reason, 1980 shot right into my mind. 1980.
I think it might be in the 80s. Yeah, we'll say 87. 1987. The correct answer is... The correct answer is 1980.
Nice.
How did you know?
I don't know. It's just one of those deeply seated facts that were in my brain and came out just then.
Maybe because I just said what 1980 80s sitcom was Tom Hanks in. Like, oh, 1980.
I don't think that's why, but maybe.
What was the name? This is the last question.
Okay. Before we become a
entertainment.
trivia podcast.
Yeah, entertainment was kind of a bad choice. But
Yeah, it was a bust.
What's the name of Mario's girlfriend kidnapped by the giant ape in Donkey Kong?
Daisy.
The correct answer is Pauline. Pauline. I'm not even making that up. Pauline.
No, I knew that, but I didn't say it. Yeah, that's...
Why didn't you say the answer?
Well, I didn't know it, like I wouldn't have gotten there on my own. But now that you say Pauline, I'm like, right. It's Pauline. I knew that.
Okay, good.
Great.
So sorry again about Moon being bad.
In my opinion.
I didn't mind it. Dude, Where's My Car is going to be a tough sell, I think, in the house to get somebody else to watch it with me.
Yep.
But that's okay. It's only 64 minutes long, according to Google, 88 minutes long, according to Wikipedia. It's on Disney Plus, starring Ashton Kutcher and Sean William Scott, which is funny because American Pie was on TV last night. And I flipped it on, and somebody in my house was like, "What movie is this?" I'm like, "It's American Pie." I'm like, "Oh, I've never seen American Pie." He played Stifler.
That was going to be
Ashton
one of my
Kutcher.
hints as to like the film. I was going to say if you didn't immediately get it from Ashton Kutcher, I was going to like the guy from American Pie is in it.
Well, when you said Ashton Kutcher in a movie, I should know. I went to Do Where's My Car, hoping that it wasn't Do Where's My Car, hoping that it was something like the Steve Jobs movie or something. Like, I don't even know what movie Ashton Kutcher has been in.
It was a bit of a bad hint because I don't think he's been in a ton of films, at least that I know of. He's been in Butterfly Effect, I know that for sure.
Yeah. Do Where's My Car was like his first starring movie.
Well, we'll get to see a young Ashton Kutcher at his finest, perhaps.
He was in Cheaper by the Dozen.
What?
Yeah, he played the boyfriend of Hilary Duff.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Yeah, hasn't been in much. That 70s show kind of took up all of his time. He's also in a TV show called The Ranch.
The Ranch.
Yep, and actually, funny enough, the next episode of The Boys that I'm about to watch, he's in. He's in a cameo, plays himself.
Whoa, my
Episode
God.
6, Season 3 of The Boys. So I look forward to seeing that probably tomorrow. No, not tonight.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Well, Jesse, any final thoughts before we end the podcast? One last time.
Not really. No. I'm done with thoughts for today.
Done with space for a little bit. Next movie won't be a space movie. Well, they're kind of in their own world.
Right.
Do Where's My Car? But, man, I'm on fire today. All right, well, I guess we'll just end it, and we'll come back fresh next week.
Play the outro.